Car, you've said it for years. Do you know what you've said for years?
That if I was raised in Canada, I would be Zach Edey.
No. That we can be bought.
Oh, yes, 100%.
We can always be bought. Well, we've been bought. Today we're doing a segment. I think this is the first time ever, just blatantly. We're doing a segment because somebody joined the Discord and told us he would join the Discord if we did the segment.
Is this setting a dangerous precedent for us?
100%.
All right, let's do it.
So this is from Jacob Long, who I believe is a Purdue fan. And he tweeted at
Pause.
us over the weekend, said, paging Sleepers Media for content during the offseason. Taking away titles. Did Purdue just play the best season of the Ken Pom era? Best season of a team to not win a title of the Ken Pom era. Parentheses, would love to compare to the best team to never win a title at Kentucky. So he quoted a Cobra Stats tweet. Cobra Stats always putting out great stuff. I believe Cobra Stats and Evan Mia got a shout out from Purdue Boiler Ball themselves over the weekend. That was good to see. But this is the tweet from Cobra Stats. It said, out of 7,900 plus seasons in the Ken Pom era for all teams, Purdue just played the second hardest schedule in the past 24 years. If you go through the top 10, Alabama in 2024 actually had a harder schedule than Purdue. So this season, we had two teams basically break the record for hardest schedule ever. Alabama was just slightly tougher than Purdue's. Before that, it was 2017 Oklahoma State, 2002 Arizona, 2017 Oklahoma, on and on down the list. One big outlier for Purdue basketball this past season. They're the only team in the top 10 that finished the year with fewer than 10 losses. The best record that any team on this list had was 26-10. That was 2019 Kansas. Purdue themselves this season went 34-5, went to a national championship game, went undefeated in the non-conference, won the Big Ten outright, and did fall short in the Big Ten tournament. But it begs the question, which was Jacob's question here, was this the best non-championship season that a program has ever had, given how difficult their schedule was and given how many games they won?
Well, you forgot another key stat too. The decibel level at Mackey this year was highest that it's ever been. That's got to factor in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, high decibels, right?
And they set the record for most chicken nuggets. And I think they also set the record for classiest losses in their 5 losses.
Yeah, what a special. No, I'm poking fun on that one. Okay. The thing I want to address quickly, before we even dive into anything, the portion of this that would love to compare this best team to never win a title to the team that Kentucky was, and just to make sure here, that was a team that went undefeated until they lost to Wisconsin in the Elite Eight, was it? That Frank Kaminsky year.
They lost in the Final Four. Yep.
But it was to Wisconsin, correct?
They did get Kaminsky'd, also Deckard.
Decker. Okay. With all due respect, that Kentucky team would beat last year's Purdue team by probably 20 plus.
You really think so?
Mm-hmm.
Even though they got Kaminsky'd.
Yeah, because I also think that Wisconsin team would have beat last year's Purdue team.
Counterpoint. Now I don't like where we're going. Counterpoint. Who was the big man on that team?
Karl Anthony Towns.
Karl Anthony Towns is what?
Dominican.
A little soft. You think Karl Anthony Towns would have had any answer for Zach Edey?
You think Zach Edey would have had any answer for Karl Anthony Towns?
I do.
Would Fletcher Lawyer have any answer for Devin Booker?
Lance Jones might.
I don't. But this exercise alone, the fact that this conversation is even being had, does speak to how good Purdue was last season.
Who did Wisconsin? Did Josh Gasser have an answer for Devin Booker? Like, what are we doing?
I still to this
they
day
lost the game.
How though?
They lost the game.
I know, but like how?
But that just saying it could happen. And I think the most unstoppable thing in that game would not have been anyone on Kentucky. It would have been Zach Edey. Maybe a bigger problem for me would have been that the Harrison twins were like 6'5". I don't know what Braden Smith's going to do with that. But Yeah, I don't know. It would have been fun. I think by default, though, I don't think you can call this Purdue season the greatest non-championship season in history because Kentucky only lost one game. Like that, I don't care if their schedule wasn't as hard. They
Mhm.
were undefeated going into the Final Four. That's more impressive.
Yeah, and Purdue only had one banner this season.
Mm,
Like unfortunately, they did not win the Big Ten championship.
yeah.
This like Kentucky ran through that. That season was different. But like I said before, could you make an argument because of the stats that were set forth? Yeah, like there could be an argument made. Like that's if that's the only team that you can make in correlation to, then like that speaks to how good Purdue's season was last year. And
If you're
also decibels, man.
if you're trying to make the pro Purdue argument here, I think what you should fixate on is the fact that you guys haven't lost a regular season non-conference game in like 4 seasons. That's absurd. Like especially given who your schedule was this year. Because like winning the Maui Invitational when everyone considered that the most stacked field ever, wins over Gonzaga, Tennessee, Marquette, Alabama, and Arizona. So you beat a Final Four team, you beat a 2 seed, you beat Tennessee with Dalton Connect. Like all these teams were loaded, and you just ran through them. It's also funny that like Gonzaga and Tennessee were your games in Maui, and you played them in the NCAA tournament too. Kind of crazy, but yeah, I don't know. I think it was obviously a very impressive season. I think losing in the Big Ten tournament to Wisconsin actually does kind of put a damper on it. Like if you're going historical seasons, you didn't sweep both titles. The team the year before did. Like the team that lost to the 16 seed at least hung a Big Ten tournament banner and a regular season title banner. So, no, I don't think there's any argument that it could be considered the best non-championship season ever. And now I'm thinking, Cart, there was another team that was undefeated going into the title game. Drew Timmy's Gonzaga Bulldogs. The year they lost to Baylor was 31-0 coming into the title game. Jalen Suggs, Drew Timme, Corey Kispert,
And
Joel
that team
Ayayi.
that team was like you could talk about like their conference schedule, but they played a tough non-conference that year.
Can I read you some names that were on that Gonzaga team, by the way?
Please.
Drew Timme, Jalen Suggs, Corey Kispert, Andrew Nemhard, Joel Ayayi, Julian Strother, Umar Balo, Anton Watson, Ben Gregg. That team's insane.
Ben Gregg was on that team?
Ben Gregg was on that team as a freshman.
Good Lord.
That team was insane. And
They got Mark Vidal.
yeah, no answer for Vital. All right. Well, now that we've set the precedent that we can be bought for segments, one, join the Discord. Two, what do you think's the next segment someone's going to pay us to do?
Probably like comparing runs of like dictators. Like we're gonna look at the resumes of Mussolini and like Hitler.
Card, how much for a feet pick? Like
I
someone
probably
says they'll join the Discord for a picture of your feet. You doing that immediately?
Yeah, I probably like start the bidding at like $25.
Okay, so that's more than double what our Discord costs.
You could get 1 foot, only the left foot for joining the Discord.
The NBA draft is coming up, and I've got something awesome for you. We are partnering with the people at NBA 2K Lab. NBA 2K is the best video game on earth. The people at 2K Lab are making some awesome stuff to make that game even more fun, and they just launched their 2024 NBA Draft Simulator, where you can find the official Sleepers Media big board. We ranked our top 75 players in this draft class. Me, Carter, Brian Ralph, Riley Davis. We did it together, and it is featured on the 2K Lab NBA Draft Simulator. You can take control of any team in the draft, play GM with just one click, and see our entire rankings before these videos even come out. Check out the link in the description of this video to try out the draft sim for yourself, and you can find more mini games at nba2klab.com/NBA-mini-games.